So technology can be used for the gospel, which is fantastic, but the control, and the lack of privacy is already there. It's not one day going to, be there where there's no privacy at all. It really is already here.
To watch the full interview with Perry Stone, go to endtimes.com, become a subscriber, $7 a month, $77 a year. You get all of our articles, all of our videos, all week long. Plus, you'll get this entire interview. Welcome to the Tipping Point Show. I'm Jimmy Evans. I'm so glad that you've joined me today. Now, I have been teaching from my book, Look Up, and I'm going to resume that teaching next week. But I have a very special guest with me today. We're going to talk about a book that he's written. Perry Stone is an internationally known evangelist and Bible teacher. He's a best-selling author with over 100 books and booklets in print in many different languages. His television program, Manifest, is seen weekly by millions of people all around the world. Perry is a Bible scholar and an end times expert. He's here with me today to talk about his new book, America's Apocalyptic Reset. And the subtitle is Unmasking the Radicals' Blueprints to Silence Christians, Patriots, and Conservatives. What a book. Perry, thank you so much for joining me today.
Jimmy, it's great to have you. And as you know, we have a yearly prophetic summit. And when people found out Jimmy Evans was coming to Tennessee, they went crazy. You have a fan base, brother. And I want you to know we're excited to, of course, we're on one of the major networks together during their fundraising and so on. And I just want to say it's a great honor. And I've known you for quite some time and preached at your church years ago in the winter months. And I'm so glad to do that. So thank you for having me.
Well, our people love you. We have that in the Round Sanctuary there.
Yes.
And they absolutely love you. Well, I've listened to you for I don't know how many years, at least 20 years. And you're a scholar, you are a true scholar, and you have a fascination with the end times and not just the end times, but the things that are happening in the world, but from obviously a prophetic perspective.
Right.
And you've written this book, America's Apocalyptic Reset. And I love the book. And I want to talk about this because, Perry, there's so much anxiety today, even among Christians, even those of us who love Jesus. You see the things that are happening in the world today. Now we have these riots that took place in Chicago and Los Angeles and, the teachers getting fired for saying good morning girls and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And, the transsexual things. And so there has been in the last probably 5 years, maybe 10 years, but really just in the last few years. And now we see AI this year. We have AI introduced, which is causing a major disruption. And so tell me why you wrote the book. What's on your mind as it relates to America's Apocalyptic Reset?
It's really interesting because I have been in ministry now for going on 47 years.
Wow.
And I'm not an old man yet, but I'm mature.
I'm going to claim that too.
There you go. We're mature. We're just maturing. I will say this, that a man just a moment ago was walking our property. He's not related to me, but his last name is Stone. He's related to Jensen Franklin. And he said, Perry, you've been preaching this for 40 years. I've known you that long. He said, it's really happening. Perry.
Yeah.
It's really happening. I want the people that watch you and I together to realize this. You've been sounding the trumpet. I have as well for many years. There comes a time when everything that we've talked about, whether it be the positive things of the last day outpouring, the positive of the gospel going around the world, the positive of God's power being released in the earth, and the knowledge of prophecy filling the earth, those are the positive things. But these negative things that we talk about, keying in especially on that Revelation chapter 13, which is a global religion under a false prophet, a global kingdom with 10 major nations and their leaders under we call it a beast system. The Bible identifies it with the imagery of a beast, which in Greek in the Revelation means wild beast. It's a specific word for a dangerous wild animal. And we know that your people and my people both know the prophetic symbolism connected with that in Daniel and Revelation. There comes a time that it has to begin happening. And when Jesus would tell his followers, you believe in God, believe also in me. Do not be afraid. and you see the fear nots in the Bible, and you see the Lord telling people what's going to happen, but at the same time telling the people of God to not be afraid, what we have to do is we have to be alerted to the times. This is the spirit of the sons of Issachar.
Yeah.
In the Old Testament, this tribe is said to have known the times and the seasons that were connected to Israel and what should be going on and what should be happening. Every believer needs to ask God to give them that same anointing that the sons of Issachar had, to be able to say, we do not want the seasons and the times to scare us, but to prepare us.
That's right.
And I've always said prophecy is never, for a believer, about being scared. It's only about being prepared.
That's exactly right.
Staying ready for the return of the Lord at any moment. Even preparing for like the natural disasters. We know they're coming.
That's right.
So what do? People who are prepared are less apt to be afraid when they see the events take place because they've already prepared for it. And I'm reminded about Noah, where it says that Noah, being warned of God, was moved by fear to prepare an ark for the saving of his house. And I said, no, God, it's a contradiction. You've told us not to be afraid. He said, no, he was moved by the fear of the Lord.
Wow.
And he knew what was coming. So the fear that moves us is our fear of the Lord, that the wrath of God is real.
Right.
The tribulation judgment is real. The judgments coming to the nations is real. So that is where we fear God, because we know that he is a just God, a God of righteousness and judgment. But yet we know he loves us.
That's right.
So therefore our fear is not to be afraid of what man can do. What did Jesus say? Do not be afraid of what man can do. Only be afraid of eternity. The person that can take you into hell. That's what you should fear, is going to hell and being lost. So I think that we have to understand we are now coming into those times. So let's be informed and let's be prepared. And that's the message that I would give to the body of Christ.
And that's what I see in this book is no fear, but there are some things we need to be prepared for. And
no question.
Let's start. This says ancient Babel globalism now taking effect. So talk about that.
Okay. When you go into Genesis chapter 11, you find that a man by the name of Nimrod built what was called the Tower of Babel. Later in that same area in the book of Daniel is Babylon. And it was where the Babylonian Empire was formed. Now, when you look at the tower, there were several things that remind us of today. First of all, we find out that they were trying to organize a global form of government. Right. One leader that controlled all those regions of that part. First real world global government came with the tower in Genesis chapter 11. So how's that parallel to us? Because of the formation of all we hear about now is globalism. Let's unite the nations. Now, number two, it says this, that they were all one language. So in this unification of things, they're trying to, if you've noticed, get one kind of currency that everybody can use. The dollar has been the pivotal currency for the nations, actually since probably since after World War II. Right. Now we're coming into something different, where China, who is the leader of the future kings of the East in the book of Revelation, has stepped in, and now that they are trying to get everyone to use their currency and do away with the American dollars. And it's just and this is probably where more people are concerned. I have a text from a businessman who is one of the top businessmen in the entire United States, and they have a Christian organization, but he sent me this real long text explaining to me in detail about breaking it down on how this is happening, why it is happening, and what his opinion was on it. So there was a global system, global government, global religion. Everybody was, it says this in the Bible, they were all one language. And here's the fourth one. There is nothing restrained that we cannot do. To me, that's the picture of artificial intelligence.
That's right.
We are now making robots gods.
That's right.
We are making and creating, and even Elon Musk has warned about this, or Elon Musk, I should say. He's warned about this. He has said this system of artificial intelligence, where it's going, is so dangerous, they could actually control and rule over humans and destroy humans. Now think about that. Yeah. So when you see this image of the beast in Revelation 13 that speaks and lives, is this image, and the Greek word there is where we get the word icon from, which is an actual image, is it connected somehow to some high level, incredible artificial intelligence? Now they're wanting to create, this is interesting, they're wanting to create an artificial intelligence robot that looks human, that literally answers every question the world has on any subject. And that can eventually be done. And they're saying it will be the God, I quote, it will be the God of a new global religion.
Wow.
And so here's the thing. When you talk about ancient Babel, you see the preview. But what did God come down and do? God came down and confounded all of their languages, where they couldn't speak with one another. They couldn't communicate with one another. And so we talk about Babel. Babel can mean the gate of the gods in the ancient Semitic language, but it also means to just utter nonsense. We say, look at the baby babbling. You can't understand what they're saying. It's just a bunch of words. And so this entire system, and I want to say something here, when you talk about men building a tower to reach into the heavens, I think, and I'm just telling you how I think about this, the parallels, I think about computer mainframes are called towers.
Wow.
And I'll tell you another thing that really interests me, because in Noah's day, there were giants in the earth in Noah's day, right? And we know that they're not named, but we do see other giants named in the time of David. Right. And when David was about to set up the kingdom, and he did it through Solomon, of course, after his death, when the kingdom was about to come, there were giants that were in existence that David had to take care of. And there are 5 of them. There's Goliath, Lami, Saph, Ishbibenoth, and the giant from Gath. And they're named that way in the Bible. David took out all 5 of them. Now, someone said, how is that parallel to the time of the end, that in the days of Noah, there were giants? What are our giants? And the answer is tech giants. The tech giants that we have are literally intimidating the world, controlling the world, controlling thinking. They're changing the thinking of an entire generation. Yeah. And without naming them, there are 5 of them.
Wow. That is absolutely.
Just like in David's day, before the kingdom was established in Israel. So the Bible, what I'm saying is, the Bible has so many historical parallels that it says in Ecclesiastes, the thing which has been is that which shall be, that which has been done is that which shall be done, nothing new under the sun. So if you want to know the future, and I know you understand this very well, you go to historic references, as it was in the days of Noah, the day it will be in the coming of the Lord, days of Lot, in the days of the coming of the Lord, and you find examples, and it's loaded with what you will see happen again at the time of the end. And that's just an example. I call it the Babel effect in the book.
Well, in Genesis 11 that you're referring to, when God came down, it said, because they have one language and they're of one mind, nothing will be impossible for them.
That's it. Nothing restrained.
Yeah. So
they can't do.
Yeah, that's what's happening. But look at
see it now.
Look at the 5 tech giants that you're talking about. They're controlling the world.
Totally
controlling the world.
You can't even go on a computer to get information till you use one of them to find out where you're going.
That's right. And
it's total control. It is control.
In the United States of America, we have antitrust laws. But as it relates to those tech giants, they stand apart from the laws. You would never, 30, 40 years ago, allow a company to become that dominant in one space. But we do.
Well, I asked a guy who's very familiar, and I definitely would not name this fella. He could lose his job, that works on the inside. I said, why is it that these giants get by with so much? And we know there was influence in elections, and we're not going to get into that, but there's so many things that they can control. And he said, one of the main ones that was invented and released was invented for the purpose of allowing the government to track information.
Wow.
And he said, that's all I'm going to tell you. So in other words, they're not going to take away a system that people trust, that gives all their information, that they can go into and collect that, just like they do, they do it with commercials. And if you ever notice, and you can test this at home, and I have never met the man. I have been invited to meet the man that does this. But there was a man that has a business that it's big as a football field with nothing but computers. And what he does is, if you say, man, I'm so hungry for a hamburger, all of a sudden, if you go to your computer, you'll see maybe a McDonald's or a Burger King ad come up. And that's why you get ads after you said something in your car, or you said something where your computer's present, and it actually exists. It's not a story. It's actually real. And the guy was telling a friend of mine, if Mr. Stone wants me to work with him, if someone is just saying the word prophecy, we can get ads for Mr. Stone's books that will come up right when they look up anything that has an ad, whether it's a news channel or whatever, Mr. Stone's ad would come up. Of course, there's a price to pay for doing it. It's not free. And that's where we're at. I mean, so technology can be used for the gospel, which is fantastic, but the control, and the lack of privacy is already there. It's not one day going to, be there where there's no privacy.
Cold parade, rhythmic bass lines and gentle drumming to establish a groove, while adding horns and strings to enhance the depths and richness of the sound. Focus on crafting a relatable and uplifting message that resonates with listeners, inviting them into an intimate and warm musical experience. Incorporate with a relaxed yet engaging rhythm. Take me there, take me where it all begins. Met you by the riverside, the city lights dim. You had that look, like you knew where I'd been. You asked me who's in your heart tonight, but I smiled back, saying out of sight. You're my anchor, my flame, lighting up shadows, calling my name. But every glance has its cost. In this game, someone's bound to get lost. I'm treading water in my own eyes. Told you I'd be better, but I still hide a tangled heart, a twisted mind. I'm here for now, but gone in time. In a crowded room, he's pulling me close, but your memory lingers like a ghost. Whiskey glasses and smoky air. I try to forget, but you're everywhere. You'd ask me to stay, see things through, but I'm running from me, not just from you. I'm treading